Welcome back, everyone, to Above and Beyond Affiliate Marketing. I am your host, Jason Ryland, with our good friend, Sophia.
Hey guys.
As you know, Sophia is here to ask some of the hard questions.
I will see what I can do.
In our last episode, we began exploring the hidden power, the truth behind the truth, the unseen reality behind and beneath the surfaces and appearances. And today, we continue that journey because every outward result, whether in life, in business, or in what we build, we must begin from an inward root. So we start with the question, what is the central principle? What is it with all things proceed? Now, Thomas Strower talked about this, and he said the answer is simple. It is life. But not life as we recognize it in particular forms, not life as an outward manifestation, but something more interior than that, more concentrated. He talks about it's the unity of spirit, which is unity simply because it has not yet passed into diversity, I believe. It's before it becomes many things, right? It is one. And it's not only a spiritual truth, it's our builder's truth, right? Because before your business becomes content, customers, income, or growth, or even a brand, it begins as something unseen, right? It begins as a passion, a vision. It's a conviction. It's that seed within you, right? Everything starts inside, inward, right? Before it ever shows up outward.
So, the real beginning of business isn't the funnel, it's the source inside the builder.
Yeah, Sophia, exactly. It is the source inside. Most people try and start with that outer form. They talk about what product should I sell? What platform should I use? What strategy is trending right now? But Trollword is teaching us to start with the center first, because what you build outward will always reflect what you hold inward. And that leads me to another point as life as pure potential, right? So now Trollword takes us just a little deeper. He says life is the sum total of all of its undistributed powers. And I think what that means is before life becomes any one thing, it contains everything in potential, right? Take like a seed, like I mentioned before. It hasn't become that tree yet, but already contains the tree inside of it, right? So imagine this. Take a tiny acorn and then think of how it turns into this great, big, mighty oak. And this is essential for the entrepreneur because before your business becomes visible, it begins as potential. Before you even have sales, followers, a system, or results, you have to have that inner capacity, right? You have to have that creative power waiting to expand. Now, growth always starts as something unseen.
So, what you're saying is the business already exists in seed form before it ever shows up in the marketplace?
Yeah, because this is where many people get discouraged. And they look at their business early on and think, it's not working yet. I'm so frustrated. But the truth is, at first, it's not supposed to look like a full tree, you guys. The builder's job is to stay faithful to the center and allow expansion outward over time. Now, this is where we really enter the secret power. Now, Troward actually brings us a little inward still when he says, at the innermost level of all things is absolute spirit. So, life before it becomes form, right? The universal source of behind everything we see. And he says something kind of striking to me. He says, to come into knowledge of this is to come into this secret power. to enter into this secret place of the living spirit. Now, that may sound mysterious to some of you guys. It may sound kind of weird, but here's what it really means, okay? The real power does not begin outside of you, it begins at the center, inside of you. And this is where business becomes personal, right? Because the greatest builders, the greatest people that have done that and built a huge legacy in a business did not build out of panic, you guys. They did not build from all the hype and the noise that is going on around them. They build from that inner place of clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of alignment, clarity of vision, clarity of peace, clarity of conviction. That's the secret place we're talking about, guys.
So the secret power really isn't some external trick? Is it the inner place where the builder connects to the source?
Sure, exactly, Sophia. Most people chase methods. They live in this outer world, right? They live in algorithms, they live in the competition, they live in trends, they want these quick results. But the builder who enters this secret place builds from something deeper. And that's why their work has weight. Their message has authority and their business has stability. And that leads me to another thought. So, your analysis must lead to building. Now, Thomas Strower talked about kind of gives us a crucial principle here. Analysis that does not lead into synthesis, right? It's merely destructive. He says it's kind of like a child who pulls a flower apart. Child pulls it apart petal by petal and throwing the pieces away. But the botanist, however, also does the same thing and pulls the flower apart. Not to ruin it, though, but to understand it. And from those carefully studied pieces, he discovers the law of growth, right? That is synthesis. That is constructive power.
Breaking things down, really, isn't the problem. The problem is stopping there. So you are saying that the builder must return with understanding and create something.
Yeah.
Whole.
Yes.
That right?
This is one of the biggest struggles in affiliate marketing, Sophia. People analyze endlessly which niche is the best, which product converts the fastest, which platform is the easiest, what are my competitors doing right now. They pull that flower apart in many directions, but they never plant anything. The purpose of analysis is to return back to the principle so you can build upward with more clarity. And that brings me to my next point. Even science builds on the unknown, right? So, Troward actually takes this to a most powerful point. He says, even the scientist, even when he reaches that final, it's unanalyzable fact, does not stop there. He finds that at the last resort, it's energy. And we know energy can be heat, energy can be motion, energy can be force. And even though it cannot be fully explained, he doesn't abandon the science, he accepts it as the foundation. Now, physical science is built upon the unchanging fact that energy cannot be added or taken away, right? It's that unknown becomes that ground.
So even science doesn't collapse when it reaches mystery. Does it build from it?
Absolutely, Sophia. And in entrepreneurship, it works the same way. You will never have perfect certainty. You can study the strategy, but eventually you reach what you cannot control, right? You can't control people trusting you and your site, or the timing of when you reach your buyers, or the creativity you put into it. Is that going to be the same on the other side? Or even the human desire that you can't control somebody coming to your stuff in that way. But the builder doesn't waver on that, or doesn't wait forever. He builds from principle, right? So that brings me to a good point that spirit and strategy actually have to work together. Now, Troward brings it together on the science of spirit. He says it's not less scientific than the science of matter, right? They begin with the same starting point, a living energy that cannot be reduced further, but spirit contemplates this energy, and this energy is not only force, but as intelligence. And the science of spirit and matter are not opposed to this. They're complementary, right? The business is the same. Write this down, guys, if you can. The outer side is the strategy. The outer side is the funnels. The outer side is the content. The outer side is the systems. But here's the other inner side, right? The inner side is purpose. The inner side is integrity. The inner side is service. The inner side is belief. The true builder understands this, and they understand both, because spirit gives life to structure, and structure gives form to vision. And that brings me to another point. Business without spirit becomes corruption. The study of this material world is not wrong, okay? Business is not wrong. Marketing is not wrong. Profit is not wrong. Sales is not wrong. But materialism is the worldview that admits nothing higher than the mechanical causes, right? So when nothing is higher than force, the ultimate appeal becomes force or fraud, right? And in affiliate marketing, that we'll face that temptation daily. Because if marketing becomes only mechanics, it drifts towards manipulation. You're manipulating people by that inner foundation. But we want that inner foundation to produce something else: truth, love, passion, kindness, integrity.
Are you saying that when a business becomes purely mechanical, it loses its soul, and what's left is exploitation?
Oh, sure, Sophia. Yes, because we must build from something higher. We can't, it's not fraud and force, right? But we need to lead by truth, love, and integrity. And that brings me to the point of the cube stability. If you ever heard about the heavenly Jerusalem, is described as a cube by length, breadth, and height equal. That's in Revelations 21 if you want to look it up. Because the cube represents perfect stability. Truth cannot be overthrown. Turn that cube on any one side, it still stands upright. And this is the lesson for business. If your business is built on trends, it can be overturned. But if it's built on truth, it becomes stable. It becomes unshakable. Spirit dwelling within the structure, right? So here's the spirit behind the structure, right? Just as one plane implies all others, every outward manifestation implies an inner source. And if we want progress, we must keep our minds fixed upon the innermost within, the spirit behind the act. That's why we say the spirit of the game, the spirit of the times. Two people can run that same exact funnel and get different results. There's different passion and vision behind it, right? It's because that spirit behind it is different. The inner essence changes everything. You guys know this, you've seen it. And that brings me to my final point here, guys. The kingdom is within. So now I want to wrap this up with something just a little bit deeper, so hang in there with me, guys. The scientific study of spirit is following intelligently, right? And with divine method. Okay, what only flashes upon most people occasionally, once we realize that this universal spirit is the root of all things and of ourselves also, we have to obtain the key, right? No matter how far we go, we will find only developments and developments of this one universal principle. And the final truth is spoken in that. And the final truth is the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Wow. So the great search ends where it began. Not out there, but within.
I want to tell you guys, this is what we need to take away from this, right? This is the hidden power of expansion. Your business is not built from the outside first. It is built from the inside. Return to the center. Build from truth. Build from love. Build from integrity. Build from spirit, because the kingdom is within you. And from that center, everything else expands. So thank you for joining me and Sophia on Above and Beyond Affiliate Marketing.
I will see you later, everyone. I am having so much fun.
And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening.